lost jurisdiction when Gates resigned from the House last week. NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake is on the Hill and joins us now. So, Garrett, what have you been hearing from senators about their meetings with the vice president-elect?
Well, Clay, Republican senators I've talked to have described these as pretty positive meetings. Many of the folks that Gates is meeting with today, I think, are senators who are more inclined to support him when all the votes are in anyway. But the message seems to be essentially give Matt Gaetz a chance. Let him get into a hearing room. Let him have his day in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee to make his case and try to clear his name. That's the message that Josh Hawley, who told me he's likely to vote for all of Trump's cabinet picks, came out of his meeting with and told me about a little bit earlier today. Listen.
Let's not rush to judgment here. Listen, if people have concerns, okay, I get that. Let him have his hearing. Ask the questions. Hear the answers. You know, I mean, let's go through that process, and then people can make up their minds.
Basically, that hearing's not likely to happen until early January. It's a very long time for Gates to be kind of hanging out in the spotlight here, at least so far, not publicly engaging with his critics in any substantial way.
Yeah, and Garrett, we have heard from the House Ethics Committee chairman ahead of that private meeting. What did he say about the next steps here?
Yeah, the House Ethics Committee is kind of a black box. It's very difficult to know what they're talking about once they go in. And if they aren't unanimous in a vote, sometimes we don't know the contents of their meetings or their votes at all. But the committee chairman, Michael Guest of Mississippi, said his concern right now about releasing that report publicly is that it's not entirely completed. It hasn't been reviewed by the committee. Now, that's potentially something that could happen in the days or weeks before a January Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. He also left open the possibility that the report wouldn't be released publicly, but could be transmitted to the Senate Judiciary Committee where Gates would ultimately have his hearing. So not something that the entire public would see, but that the first batch of senators, really the first group up to review Gates, would have a chance to look at before that hearing, Sinclair.
Okay, Garrett Haake from Capitol Hill. Thanks so much. And there is more breaking news this hour. A Utah judge has dismissed a wrongful death lawsuit brought by the parents of Gabby Petito. You'll remember the 22-year-old was killed in August 2021 after she disappeared on a cross-country trip with her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie. In November of 2022, Petito's parents filed a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit against the Moab police. Officers in that department questioned both Petito and her boyfriend during a domestic violence incident just weeks before Petito was killed. Joining me now, NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky. So, Morgan, what was the family of Gabby Petito seeking exactly to do with this lawsuit, and why was it dismissed?
Yes, and Clay, this lawsuit specifically was directed at the Moab Police Department for an incident that took place about a month before Gabby Petito died. The family was looking to hold that department liable because of a call that came in for domestic violence in which Moab police responded and encountered both Gabby and Brian Laundrie. There was a call to Gabby's own parents as this was going on in which she assured them that Moab police were handling the situation, but the family believed that the police did not do their due diligence in establishing Brian Laundrie as a threat at that time. The back and forth here between the department and the parents really hinged, Clay, on this immunity that law enforcement bodies can have applied to them in cases where they are held liable. And the attorney for the department also argued that the police simply could not be liable for the death of Gabby Petito in an encounter that happened a month prior to their death. Of course, Petito's parents vehemently disagreed on that account. The judge's decision today to dismiss it, he stated that he was merely following constitutional law as it was written, and he said that they could certainly appeal, but if this was also dismissed by an appeals court, that would effectively end this lawsuit entirely here. Clay.
And Morgan, notably, this is not the first time Petito's parents have sought justice for their daughter through the courts, right?
Right, they've already been awarded $3 million.